Hello, and welcome to another Xton Quick Take. In today's episode, we're going to take a closer look at executing on demand or automating a password reset job. As with most quick takes, I'm currently logged in with my service administrator account so that all the options are available to me. But as always, in your system, you can trim down the security. So some of the options that we'll show today and use today can or cannot be made available to some of your users or groups. So it's important to understand that everything we're seeing today is because I'm logged in as the system administrator. So with that said, let's get started. So we're going to use a standard Windows host record today for our video. And let's open it up and take a look at its current configuration. So just a standard Windows RDP based connection. You have your host, your port, your user, and your password. Let's unlock the current password so we can see what it is. Oh, and this is not good. So you can see here we have a very weak combination. We have our admin account that has a standard admin password. This is no good. So we're going to have to go through here and update this password. And before we do, let's just make sure that it's actually working. So we'll come up here to connect. This will open us a session using that current login and password. And as you can see, it did connect successfully. So in its current state, we can use this record with that admin login and that very unfortunate admin password as well. So that's where we're going to go and we're going to update now. Now, the easiest way to update the password is just come over here and click the reset password button. But before we do that, let's take a look at what actually makes up a password reset job inside of the system. A basic password reset consists of two parts. The first part is the formula, which determines the complexity of the password. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation again where we have a weak password in this example of admin. So the formula will determine the strength or the complexity of the auto-generated password. And the second part is the policy. The policy is used to determine when this particular job is to be executed. So let's start by taking a look at the formula. So the first thing that we want to do here is make it unique. So in this current situation, this formula is inheriting from its parent. So if I wanted to modify it, I would have to go to the parent in which the formula exists and configure it there. But you also have the option to make it unique, which means that I'll edit this formula specific to this record that we're looking at now, which is my Windows host. So let's go ahead and click the Make Unique, confirm the dialog, and now the password formula that we're looking at now is only going to be configured for this particular record. All right, and these are the options you have available. So the first one is password length. We definitely want to go out and make this a little bit longer of a password to keep it a little bit more secure. So let's just put in there 50. So that's obviously going to be 50 characters. The rest will leave the same. So we have a mix of capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and then special characters. So all of those are enabled by default, so we'll leave them in that state. So we'll slide over here, we'll click Save. And now this particular formula has been saved to this record. And again, we made it unique, so it's only applied to the record we're looking at right now. So let's jump back to that record, go into it. And now that the formula is set, let's look at the second part, which is our policies. Policies, again, are when this particular job, in this case a password reset, will be executed. So we'll go ahead and make this unique as well, just like we did with the formula. So now it's only going to be applied to this particular record. And now you have all the options available to you. So a couple examples we'll quickly run through. So if you wanted to reset this password every day, for example, you click the every number of day option, put in there a 1. So now this password will be rotated once a day, every day. Or, for example, if you wanted to do it on a specific day of the week, perhaps Sunday. So every week there's a fresh password for this record or this account, then you can enable that option. So these are examples of time-based triggers, right? So I want to have this password be reset based on a specific date or a rotation based off of time. Other ones that we have here are event-based. So for example, if a user were to update a record, change the password themselves, or change a parameter inside of the record, or make any changes to the record itself, that event would then trigger this policy, which in this case is the reset. And then finally is the on-demand. On-demand is good because that allows you to come in here and do it whenever you need to. That was what the reset password button that we saw earlier was all about. When you have on-demand, you can at any time come into a record that you have permissions to. Remember, again, I'm the system administrator, so I have permissions to everything. But a user with permissions to the record and has the ability to execute jobs could at any time come into this record and click that reset button, which would then trigger and execute that job. So we'll leave that one checked. And again, we'll slide over here, we'll click Save. And now the policy has been saved to this particular record. And you can see here all the policies that we have applied. And now let's actually go and reset the password. And again, we're going to do this on demand. So that's why the button resets here. If on demand was not enabled, this button would not be here because there would be nothing for you to execute. It would all be either time or event based. So we'll go ahead and click Reset Password. This will now show us the actual configuration for this job. So we're resetting the password, so it's going to show you here in the password field the password that it would use if you were to execute the job on demand right now. So you can see it meets the complexity that we defined in our formula. So it's 50 characters, special characters, numbers, letters, capitals, lower cases, all of that's there. Now, if you were to attempt to type in something manually, which you can do. So if we go back to and we want to use our very weak admin password, the system won't allow us to do it because it violates almost all of our formula rules. So the system won't allow you at this point to assign anything that does not meet its formula rules. So it has to be validated. Now, if you want the system to automatically generate it, obviously it's going to generate valid passwords for you, so you can just cycle through here until you're satisfied with whatever password is shown. So now we'll come up here, we'll click Schedule Job, and that is now going to, on demand, execute this password reset. So you can see down here in the job queue for this particular record, on demand is ready, it's in the queue, and because my system is not being used right now other than myself, it should be processed immediately. So we'll just come up here, click to refresh. We can see now that it was executed successfully, and we click it one more time, and now it's removed from the queue because it has been processed. So before we actually see the results of the job itself, let's just come over to the history. This is where you can come in here and you can see what has been executed for this particular record as far as jobs, and you can see across the top there that we have an on-demand job that was processed and its state is completed. If there was any issues or errors, the state would show there that there was an issue with that particular job. You click the details button and it'll show you why. So let's go back to the record itself. And take a look at the results. So first, just to confirm that it has changed, we'll go back, we'll unlock the password field. You can clearly see that it's much more complex, much stronger than what our original admin password was. Clearly meets the requirements of our formula as well. And the final bit of confirmation is just come up here and we'll just reconnect with a session just to make sure that we can still log in. And we can clearly still log in. So the system now has updated the password, has set it back into the record, and now anybody who uses this record with the connection or with anything, executing scripts or any other jobs, this is the password that the system and the server has assigned to it. And that's it. So you have a simple, easy, and quick way to execute on demand or to automate a password reset for your privileged accounts and systems using Xton Access Manager.